So everybody's represented. So which group?
Oh, you got the Donald Trump hands up?
Which group?
Everybody's been represented.
You know what I say to that? Let them eat cake.
I mean, honestly, they're going to destroy themselves.
If you are stiff-arming movies like Oppenheimer to not win Best Picture, like not giving them the chance to potentially win Best Picture.
No Oppenheimers.
Hey, welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wiseworks show, everybody.
Wiseworks show? All right, keep going.
We're here. It's Friday at noon. Unless you're watching this on the
okay. Just for everyone who doesn't keep track of the days and time, it's noon and it's Friday. Now, we're glad you're here, showing up. If you're loyal, showing up every time we release something new. Look, you are truly the wacky, wonderful group. And we love it.
You are subscribed to the Patreon, and then this comes out on Monday.
That's true. They do get it early. How are you guys today?
Good. Not
Good.
tired.
Good.
Second cup of coffee.
Good.
Ready to go.
Awesome. Joshua?
Great. Straight with no caffeine.
Straight.
I'm raw in it today.
He's straight and he has no caffeine in him.
All right, I want to kick off because I wanted to ask you guys something. Do you guys know, with all of the Barbie news, with all of the hype about it's become $1 billion movie, it's going to outpace Mario, that kind of thing?
Yep.
Nobody's paying attention that Oppenheimer is the third highest grossing movie of this year and is Chris Nolan's second highest grossing movie of all time, next to The Dark Knight.
It's more expected. It's expected of Nolan.
It's
expected of Nolan to create a success. That's why people were like, wow, Tenet kind of didn't do so great.
Because it went straight to streaming.
Went straight to streaming.
Where is that money coming from?
Right,
if it's
exactly.
In the streamer?
And, people expected this from Oppenheimer. Barbie was kind of a different story.
Barbie's a one-off.
Yeah,
and
before. No, they'll make an extended universe, a Barbie extended universe.
They haven't even confirmed a sequel to Barbie, which is unheard of with how popular it is. You know what I mean?
Well, the funny thing is, like, all the memes, all the commentary on the internet about Barbie is kind of like, Barbie's kind of the villain in this movie, even though Ken was supposed to be the villain.
Mm-hmm.
Barbie, because it like the movie opens with her being like, well, this is the Barbie house, and I'm we're in charge, and she
kind of feels like a fascist,
so please go away. And then he does the exact same thing. He's like, well, this is my house now, and it's boys' night. And then it's like evil, and then and that's evil. She's like crying because she's in the same position he's in, like his whole life.
I'll say this: that does come. Barbie World comes across very Nazi and fascistic, I guess you might say.
You guys are opening this podcast strong.
Look, I'm just saying
fascism.
I'm just saying. Look, Barbie, not the toy, the movie.
The movie, yes.
The live action movie. Barbie was it's what we predicted a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Barbie was going to be a higher grossing opening weekend, and it's going to do well. And then over time, Oppenheimer has staying power where Barbie does not, because in a year nobody's watching Barbie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think the rewatch value is there.
Rewatch value is non-existent with Barbie. Everyone's like, "Oh, it was really fun. Remember that one time in 2003, 10 years later." When we watched Barbie that one time.
Well, people will enjoy like all of the Ken stuff. That's what all I see. I never see any of the Barbie scenes. I see Ken. I see all the Ken scenes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a level to it that a man sold that movie, but you
guys are coming out strong with this one.
Look, I'm just saying Barbie is a very popular dumb movie, and Oppenheimer is a masterpiece. And Oppenheimer's doing well, and nobody's talking about it. So that's really what I'm trying to say. Oppenheimer's done really well. Now, I will say,
What
to
was your
get off of
question? I think
Barbie,
you said you had a question about this.
did you guys have, when you watched Oppenheimer, did you notice audio issues? Like with dialogue and stuff?
No.
I feel like there were times where it was quiet, but I assumed it was like that on purpose. Like you're not supposed to hear what they say.
Right, and he does. Nolan mixes intentionally. I think the biggest thing I noticed was there was two scenes. If I can visually recall one of them. I think it was towards the beginning when Oppenheimer's at the university, right? And him and two people around him are walking down the street and they're having a conversation down next to this building. They're outside. The audio does something that sounds like a audio mixing fixer.
Yeah.
Where it's like a noise reduction. So if you ever put a noise reduction on audio that's good and clean, it starts to sound like this. You know what I mean? It's because it's cutting out background noise now or other noise in the environment. I've learned that there's words going around online as to why some of these audio issues. It's not just quiet audio, because that's intentional. That's Nolan doing something specific with his mixing that a lot of people don't like, but it is a part of the art. With this audio issue specifically, it is because of the loud cameras. Apparently, the IMAX cameras are very loud, and when you're filming something close to an actor, it gets all in the audio, and so you have to take it out of the audio. You know what I mean?
Weird.
You have to clean it up. Apparently, these IMAX cameras are like, you know what I mean? They're just like making tons of noise, and you're getting your close up, and the audio guy's like, "Oh, what is this?" You know. So apparently, there's some audio problems that they, when they shoot on set, and a lot of the audio issues is because they're trying to get the background noise of those cameras out of the audio. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
Which is actually difficult to do. It is hard to take background sounds out of audio and try to make it clean when it's just permeated everything,
Yeah.
It's difficult to do. But did you guys ever hear of this? Have you seen anything online about this? Is this
Not
new?
about the Oppenheimer's audio, no.
Because a lot of people were saying, I think in theaters, a lot of people didn't notice it or care as much. It's also come to be expected with Chris Nolan, is the way he mixes audio for his movies. But in theaters, you notice it less because everything's loud naturally. So even when they're talking quiet, you can still clearly hear them. I think we'll probably hear more issues with people when they start streaming it at home. They'll be like, "Oh, the audio."
Well, I know that he's had a couple. He said people say for a while that his sound mixing of like music is sometimes just a little too loud while voices are too quiet. And that's understandable. But his movies are very atmospheric. So,
but again, I've said this in the past, but I want to challenge people. If that's your opinion and you're just blanket statement on Chris Nolan's audio mixing, he has said that he is very specific and involved with how things are mixed down to the decibel. So he's choosing to do this. If that is the fact, pay attention when you're watching as to why something might be extra loud here or extra quiet, because it's probably motivated by the scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It most likely is motivated by the scene. So just as a side note, another thing I noticed when I was watching in IMAX is, we might have mentioned this already. Did you notice some of the stuff was soft? Like some of the shots never really like quite hit focus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that we did talk about.
We talked about that. I feel like there's a real grittiness and a very analog feel to Oppenheimer as a whole, which other ones don't feel quite like that.
Well, there were some shots that were that I noticed were specifically like he was out of focus,
Mm-hmm.
but it worked.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact shot, but he was like the object of the shot, but he was out of focus.
Mm-hmm.
And it never like fully brought him into focus.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's strange. But looking around him, there were a lot of stuff around him that was in focus or something. I don't know. It was a weird shot, but I didn't have an issue with it. I kind of liked it for what it was.
Yeah. And I'm also noticing, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff where Hoyte van Hoytema is putting this rig on his shoulder with the giant camera and literally like getting a shot holding it on his shoulder. It's not necessarily on like a tripod or a jib or something.
Tough to get exact focus.
It's very difficult. And especially if you're doing those handheld shots, when they're using a short depth of field lens, it's literally the difference between being a half an inch too leaned forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're just leaned forward just a half an inch too much. And these old cameras, they're not dealing with these fancy new autofocus helpers. It's all
you've got to
analog.
focus that.
It's all there. If you're not doing that yourself, if you're not manually making sure, then it's not happening. I kind of like it.
So I love how we opened up with Barbie and Oppenheimer. It's like you can't talk about one without the other.
This is the year where Barbenheimer they're joined at the hip for some reason. And and it's unfortunate, but it's a fact. For 2023, they're conjoined twins.
That's the thing. Yeah. It will always be remembered that Oppenheimer and Barbie came out the same year, same day,
and they both were big successes.
They were both huge. It was a phenomenon. That's pop culture for us, for our generation.
This is a question that you kind of brought up. When someone says they have twins, why are we instantly like, oh, are they identical? And why don't we just ask the question?
I know you watched Something's Burning. I know you watched Something's Burning. Why? Did you see this?
No, he told me about it, though.
Okay, so Bert Kreischer on his YouTube, he does Something's Burning, which is basically a cooking podcast. Yeah. He had on Jake, who plays Nick in New Girl.
Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson. And he has kids. And Bert was getting a little high. He was smoking some weed on the podcast. And instead of asking, when Jake said, I have twins, instead of asking if they're identical, like Joshua was trying to tee up, like a lot of people do, it's like, oh, identical or fraternal. He asked conjoined.
Yeah.
Like, who asked they're conjoined? That's a funny bit.
I think
it's not our bit. It is something to appreciate.
I think it's more funny that Josh was teeing up somebody else's bit.
I know. That's why I cut it off, because I'm like, I'm not going to let you do this. I know what you're playing at. You're not.
You're the one who said Barbenheimer was.
Yeah, I said joined at the hip, and my brain instantly went conjoined, and my brain.
No, and you know what you said when you said twins, when you said Barbenheimer was like twins joined at the hip. I was like, I immediately thought of what Josh was gonna say. I was like, conjoined twins.
Well, I saw Joshua start giggling. I'm like, for sure, he knows. We all had the same thing in our brains.
Yeah. Now, what's our first topic here?
The first topic is a little bit of, again, kind of what is Hollywood doing? Okay.
Oh no.
What are
they doing?
What's their plan?
I don't think they have a plan.
All right, we're gonna talk a little bit about
Jason Momoa,
Aquaman 2. All right.
Which I would like to point out. If you will give me 1 second.
Okay.
The first Aquaman came out in 2018.
Okay.
Wow.
2018. Okay.
Also, the first Aquaman is apparently the best performing DC movie ever.
Yes.
Wow.
That is why.
2018.
Go ahead.
It's been
5 years.
5 years?
Yes.
And other movies have come out with sequels during this time.
Yes, and
Uh,
COVID was in between these two
yeah,
movies.
I mean, you can't still be using COVID as an excuse
Not right
COVID
at
now.
this
and
point.
Amber
Right.
Heard was between these
Okay,
two.
yeah, you know what, Amber, I
That's two
forgot
big
about
controversies.
yeah, that was another big controversy. Yeah, so just I don't. There's no hype for this anymore.
So listen, this is the hype
Nope.
is non-existent, which is a
Nope.
big problem because they've dumped over $200 million that we know of into this movie. Now, if they are expecting to
money.
get $1 billion like the first one did, then sure. But there's no I think we have Blue Beetle and Flash, especially Flash, because it was anticipated, it was a big moment, and it was a really the college try. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it did not do well.
Mm-mm.
Blue Beetle, a little bit smaller. They didn't really give it the college try, and
Right.
it really hardcore flopped. The latest two DC movies just are big failures.
And what came before those two?
Black Adam
Shazam, Black Adam, both of which failed at the box
failed.
office. Nothing has made its money back. The
So
Flash was the only thing in recent years that have even come close, and it only made 260 mil. The
Yeah,
movie
it's-
costs more than that to make.
yeah, no, it's considered a failure, 100%. This costs comparable to what they've spent on the
Mhm.
Flash. And do we honestly think that Aquaman 2 is going to get people in theaters? Does
No.
Jason Momoa hold the water, no pun intended, that he once
That
did to
pun
get
was
people
intended. That pun was intended.
That was
to get people?
Just
No,
say pun intended.
pun intended, sure, but it wasn't until literally microseconds before I said
Just
it.
say it. You don't have to say no pun intended.
All right, does Jason Momoa hold water the way he once did to get people into theaters, right?
No.
He doesn't, not anymore.
No.
probably not.
We've seen him too often. How well did Fast and Furious do with him as the villain? It did
Yeah.
well, but it did comparable to what Fast and Furious normally does.
Yeah.
Did more people show up for that one because Jason Momoa was in it?
No, because
No.
people
Maybe
like the
a
Fast
few
and the
people,
Furious
but
movies.
probably not a lot.
So, with all that said, and I'm not going to read through these big articles. I'm just referencing to show you that the world is mentioning this. Okay, Warner Bros. Quest to build a better Aquaman sequel, 3 reshoots, 2 Batmans, and non-stop test screening.
So the reshoots make sense. Every single movie that has come out from DC or Marvel recently has had to have
had
multiple reshoots and pushbacks.
This one has had. I think this one is unprecedented to how much has been reshot. So 3 reshoots, and the last one was in June.
So, but more importantly, what the 2 Batmans? What's that part about?
I'm not really sure. I think there was hopes for DC to bring in Michael Keaton as kind of like a Nick Fury character for DC.
Mhm.
Okay. And obviously you have the Ben Affleck Batman who constantly shows up. I know IMDb has Ben Affleck on the cast list,
Yeah,
but not Michael Keaton.
but
okay?
also at the end of The Flash, they showed George Clooney.
Right. But he's not. I don't see George Clooney on the cast list for
Yeah.
Aquaman.
So it's probably Affleck.
It's Affleck. He's on the cast list. But they were also like, it wasn't really James Gunn. It was like some other executives were like, we want a Nick Fury character. It would be awesome if Michael Keaton as the Batman that we saw in The Flash could be kind of like a selling point, as well as kind of like this older wise character, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going
I
to
don't-
happen,
I don't
especially
think
not in
that's gonna
James
work.
Gunn's DC. But the nonstop test screenings, they've had multiple test screenings. All
Not a
of
good
them
sign.
Yeah.
have not done well. All of them have been disliked. Okay.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
There's zero excitement around this movie. Now, if I show you this last paragraph on this other article I found was interesting because this is them, I guess, hoping against hope. So sources told THR that the latest round of reshoots, referring to June, might have finally gotten all the film's ducks or stingrays or whatever
Mhm.
in a row.
Ducks are
Gun-
aquatic as well.
Right.
Semi-aquatic, just like Aquaman, so ducks works.
Right. Gunn and Safran, whatever, approved 5 days of reshoots for director James Wan, starring Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson. Apparently, Wan got what he wanted after day 4, and now it's back to the edit bay and video effects minds. Aquaman, the Lost Kingdom is set to be his last film of the DCEU's Ancien? What is that word? I don't know.
I have never seen that word before.
Interesting word. Anyway, we'll look past it. Yeah, and then this is the last DCU basically before the James Gunn Superman Legacy in 2025.
Former
Yeah.
old.
Yeah,
Ancient, former. Yeah.
The
ancient.
as he put it, Elseworld, right?
Yeah.
So, with all that said, the test screenings are not going well. The reshoots are expensive, and all for what is the question that I'm posing to you.
I still I'm having trouble getting past the fact that the writer of the article went they think they've gotten all their ducks in a row or stingrays or whatever.
Ducks works.
Are aquatic. They're semi-aquatic. They're the same as Aquaman. They're semi-aquatic.
Right.
What
Why you hating on ducks?
Stupid.
It's a turn of phrase.
They were like, I guess ducks don't work because they're not really water animals.
Well, I don't know who wrote that article, but it don't matter.
No.
Look, this is
Do matter.
I know we've had so many Hollywood failures and so many DC failures, but how on earth do the creators and the director just keep trudging forward when
I don't
we
know.
all know this is dead on arrival?
Yeah. It's please watch my movie.
We keep spending money to try to make it work, but it's not gonna.
They're still just coming out with all these superhero movies, and we're tired of superheroes.
People are done with it.
We're done. The only thing maybe I would get on.
We're
board
not
for is
entirely
another
done
Batman
with
movie.
superhero. Look, we're not entirely done with superheroes. We're done with this vibe.
Look,
all right.
Here's the thing. Every decade has had its thing. The cowboy movies lasted a while. The gangster movies lasted a while. Action, hard, heavy action. There was action sci-fi, 90s comedies, 2000s rom-coms, and
how's Hallmark doing? Is Hallmark still?
Hallmark's still kicking. Hallmark's
okay.
Hallmark been going. And then the superheroes. And to be honest, we've the superhero genre has lasted longer than a lot of those other genres have.
And it's coming to a close.
I think we are setting into a new era. I think the next one's
sci-fi,
large sci-fi fantasy is what people are looking
things
for.
Like Dune and Creator, like we talked about last week.
People are looking
but that
for,
can get boring easy.
It can. It can, and it may not.
You gotta have a lot of fresh ideas. And Star Wars is not it.
It may not last as long as the as the superhero genre, but we're in kind of the perfect place to make legitimate sci-fi, and I think people realize this with Blade Runner and with Dune, is that large scale sci-fi can be done and people are interested in it. And so I think that's kind of what we're gonna, because sci-fi has been kind of just hanging around for a little while. You get your occasional Elysium or Blade Runner.
Sci-fi recently has been. What are you giggling about, Joshua?
I'm just imagining sci-fi and Beetlejuice just being like, or not Beetlejuice. He's like, I don't know, just hanging around.
What are you doing? Nothing. Just hanging around.
Look,
that's sci-fi over in
that's sci-fi. That's been sci-fi the last 25 years.
I would say sci-fi has been
hanging around.
almost probably the past 20 years has been defined primarily by Star Wars and Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah.
Now,
So
that's not all sci-fi.
epic. This is what I'm thinking. Epic sci-fi is going to be the new thing because
Look, people are more excited for Rebel Moon than they are Star Wars.
Sci-fi. It's been adventure sci-fi for so long. Star Wars established adventure sci-fi. It's going to be dramatic epic sci-fi will be the next phase.
I think
Probably.
I think it will only. Yes, I agree with that, but I think it will only last 4 to 5 years. I don't think it's going to be.
No, I think I think it'll be 10 years of movies that we get that were made for about there was like 4 or 5 years where people were making them, but we're gonna get them over the course of the next 10-ish years.
Let's think about it. We're already started. We keep saying it's next, but we've already kind of started it, right?
Yeah.
Because we've already said no to Star Trek and Star Wars and saying yes to Dune. You know what I mean?
Yes to Dune.
Saying, yes, Dad.
Yes to Rebel Moon. Yes to the creator.
Yes.
People are
saying
saying
we're already saying it. We're already excited. We're already amidst it because.
Did you say yes, Daddy?
I did say yes, Daddy.
Yes, Daddy.
It was a stretch, though. It was a stretch.
But yes, Daddy toward the sci-fi epics that we're talking about. And like I was saying, Rebel Moon is a not Star Wars, but Star Wars inspired because Zack Snyder didn't do a Star Wars movie. They didn't give him one. So people are more excited about Rebel Moon than they are the next Star Wars, like Ahsoka. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or whatever movie they have on the ticket. So you're right. Sci-fi is going to have its day in the sun. I would say probably somewhere between 5 and 10 years. So I'm kind of in between with you guys.
Yeah. And, I kind of thought it was going to be, I thought for a while it was going to be Game of Thrones level fantasy. But
I would love a fantasy.
Netflix killed it.
Netflix
destroyed it.
Netflix tried to do too much. Amazon Prime tried to do too much. They all tried to make these different high fantasy things to get the age of high fantasy started.
They're doing fantasy drama. I don't want to see fantasy drama as much as
I do.
I mean, I do want to see a little
fantasy
bit of that.
drama.
I want the stuff Netflix is doing is too dramatized. Like Game of Thrones, I can handle because it's good, but or House of the Dragon, but it's too.
What about things like Highlander? That was very successful in a niche group. But Highlander is very drama. It's not a whole lot.
I think the issue is that they are taking these shows, and we've talked about it a million times before, but like with Wheel of Time and just turning it into something nobody wants to watch. Right. Everybody, Game of Thrones proved people like high fantasy, people like drama and, political stuff, and nobody cares about any of the other BS that you want to put into a show. That's why Rings of Power got slammed. It's why Wheel of Time got slammed. It's why The Witcher got slammed, because they just kept adding stuff from our world into the fantasy world.
Yeah, and we don't mention this enough. We were given a very clear case study gift with House of the Dragon and Rings of Power coming out basically at the same time. Okay, and nobody watched Rings of Power, and everybody loved House of the Dragon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a case study. It shows you what Wyatt's pointing out here. We still love fantasy, but it has to be good, and it can't be filled with BS and destroying the source material.
I mean, the Batman. How many people watched the Batman compared to this new Aquaman or Blue Beetle?
Yeah, no, people liked the Batman. People wanted to see something cool.
We can't just do another Batman though, because they've done
they will
Batman at this point.
The superhero genre will come to a close, but we will always get Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. And maybe every once in a while we might get something really cool. And maybe somebody will make a good Blade movie, or somebody will make a good Daredevil movie,
or a good Craven Hunter, maybe. Probably not this one.
Yeah, it's just the characters that people really like. So
You also
Spider-Man,
left out Joker. Joker will always
Joker,
have
yeah,
Joker.
yeah. People, there's specific
Yeah, but
things that people like. It's like Batman, dark and cool. Daredevil, dark and cool. Superman, kind of like justice and freedom. Spider-Man, web slinging, fun loving. Also can be story driven and dramatic. All of these Blade, dark, cool.
Wolverine.
All of these,
Will we always have
Wolverine.
Wolverine?
Everybody.
Yeah.
These are the characters everybody loves to watch on screen.
And we like variety with these characters as well.
And we will always get stuff like that. Even after the superhero genre has died. It's like the cowboy thing. It's like the cowboy genre. How we got cowboy movies for years. We still get good cowboy movies. So,
overall,
once in a while, there's bad cowboy movies. Actually, there's a lot of bad cowboy movies.
That Nicolas Cage one that came
but
something.
every once in a while you get a good cowboy movie, and even though cowboy movies have been dead for decades.
Right. So overall, with Aquaman, what would you recommend in a couple sentences? How does Hollywood keep their chin up, if you will?
Don't abandon all hope.
Abandon ship.
Here. Yeah,
abandon. So you think ship. You think they're kind of like, okay, well, it's still going to be a failure, but we'll at least maybe make 100 million or 150 million. So
they're going to have to put it
cover our costs, but we'll at least get some money from it. You know what I mean?
Have to get some out of it.
They'll get a couple million.
They can't get zero out of it.
Yeah, well, they'll get a couple million. They won't. They won't break even on this movie.
I doubt it.
They won't break even.
Once they actually have something ready, they're probably going to market the crap out of this.
And I doubt that they will. If they don't break even, they won't say it. They'll be like, "No, we made
tons of money.
Even. We definitely broke even." No, you didn't. Stop lying.
Yeah,
man, I don't think there's not a lot of hope for this. There's no hope for this. In fact, no Star Wars against all odds hope story can save this. Right?
Nope.
Are you controlling the slides, Joshua?
No, I didn't touch them.
Yes, you did. Keep your paws off of my producing.
Hey, how come I don't have control?
Because you're not logged in with the admin.
Who's our Patreon shout out for this week?
Thank you, Shelby.
Thank you
for being a Patreon supporter. Look, Shelby gets her name at the credits of every episode and the clips. She also gets a shout out like we're doing right now because she supports us on Patreon. She also gets access to the podcast 5 days early. It's almost a whole week, right? On Monday mornings. And she you guys planning on doing some of that more exclusive stuff? We
plan
with the watch parties and such.
Yes. We just need to pick a movie and do it.
You guys are talking about watching a movie this afternoon. Set up some microphones and roll.
Yeah, we could do that.
Either way, there's watch parties on there, as well as exclusive podcasts, the pre-show we do every single week before we start recording the podcast. Now, what did we talk about on this past pre-show? We talked about a handful of stuff. What did we talk about?
Hollywood stuff.
We talked about some Hollywood stuff, but we also talked about what was it that we talked about? Did we talk about Oppenheimer? No, that was at the beginning of this one. We do a lot of these, so it's hard to say everything we talk about. But it's more stream of consciousness.
You're a great salesman. Great salesman.
It's more stream of consciousness over on Patreon.
Yeah,
and if that's something you're into, if you like our stream of consciousness conversations that deteriorate into multiple paths, go check us out. Links in the description, and choose the tier that best fits your content.
I was talking to someone, and they said that they enjoyed the midnight special.
Really? Recently?
They were like, oh, I really enjoyed the midnight special because it was just kind of stream of consciousness. It was just, I mean, They didn't use that word, but it was the.
Well, maybe
we weren't talking
restarted
about
for the for the Patreon.
We were talking about just life stuff.
Sort of, and I think that, and we still do that. It's just on Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
We still
it
do
for
that. So,
kinda.
so look, we do it with the pre-show, and we're not saying no to the midnight special. We're just saying no for now. You know,
Yeah.
once
And
we
who
get a good
says,
sized
hey,
audience
you
over there
know,
on Patreon, we'll put it out on Patreon. Midnight
if
special.
yeah, when we get a bigger audience on Patreon, maybe we'll just extend the pre-show to a longer show.
Call it the midnight special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And say the midnight special's behind a
funny.
paywall now. Look, we love you, Shelby. Thank you for being a supporter. And you too can be one as well. Thank you. So, this is upsetting. This is extremely upsetting news. All right.
Okay.
No.
So, we all know about the Oscars. We all know about the problems come along with the Oscars. We also know this is like the highest honors in Hollywood. It's movies, it's acting, right? It is. It's the highest honors that someone in Hollywood can receive.
Icon status that we were talking about on the pre-show.
That's what we were talking about the pre-show. We were talking about icons. We talked a little bit about Doja Cat.
Is that why Will
Sam
Smith hit
Chris Rock?
Chris Rock,
Right.
because they didn't make his son an icon.
He was asking for
Jaden
it.
Smith has been trying to make himself an icon ever since his balls dropped. Look,
Before that,
Jaden Smith,
way before that. I mean, I don't even think they have yet.
I hate it here.
Jaden Smith is so ridiculous. This is what happens to child stars if they don't do drugs. You get Jaden Smith.
I don't know. He's probably been doing drugs.
I don't think he's doing drugs. I think he's making water cartons out of cardboard and saying he doesn't want to be a human, and talking about why, everyone is always worried about partying with their friends, but why is no one considered with the geopolitical racism in the country? You know what I mean?
Jaden Smith's the kind of guy that, like, I feel like you would you'd go on a round the world trip, and you'd just be out in like the China Sea amongst all the fishing boats, and he'd just be on one fishing. You would just see him there, and he'd be like, I'm trying not to be like real. You would just be like, I'm ignoring you. He's just he's wearing ratty clothes and just sitting there fishing. Like, I don't know, dude. I
think Jaden Smith wants to be the center of attention all the time. That's what I think. I think everything he says is fake to get more attention.
If that's the case, he ain't doing a good job.
He's giving it his best.
No,
and nobody cares about
everybody. Like, everybody else is out here throwing up opinions, throwing up podcasts, throwing up everything. Homie's not going on like Joe Rogan. He's not talking to comedians. He's not going to UFC. He's not. I don't know.
He already thinks he's past them. He already thinks he's bigger than them.
He's just not doing it.
He's Jaden Smith.
Go do something. Talk to people. I don't know.
Look,
what
the Oscars
about the new rule?
So the Oscars came up with a rule, I think back in 2022, for eligibility to win Best Picture, okay? Specifically for Best Picture.
Okay.
They have not implemented those rules until this next year in March of 2024, okay? We're going to look at these rules, and heads up, this is everything to do with diversity, racial equality, and equity, okay?
Okay.
Equity?
So you basically, and the reason I'm bringing this up, I guess to say it right off the bat, Oppenheimer will not be able to win Best Picture or
will not qualify.
A masterfully made movie like Oppenheimer will not qualify because it's too whitewashed. All right? Even though there's Jewish people in there. Jewish people don't count.
Painting the fence?
Yeah, I'm whitewashing the fence.
I got you.
Whitewashing the fence. Okay, so
it's like,
I got it.
Yeah, I got it, but it wasn't a great joke.
The Academy Town Hall clarifies new Oscar inclusion standards initiatives for members. We're going to look at each one of these. So basically, the rules, from what I understand, is the initiatives originally unveiled in September 2022 is going into effect with the upcoming 96 Oscars in March of 2024. In order for the films to now qualify for Best Picture, they will need to meet 2 of the 4 new standards set forth by the Academy.
Okay.
Apparently, like 80% of the people in the Academy voted yes for these to be the facts. All right.
Okay.
How about speed reading? Can you read this, Wyatt?
Let me. I don't usually keep it on full screen.
I'm gonna try to zoom in a touch.
Standard A centers on on-screen representation and can be achieved in 3 ways: either by at least one of the lead actors, significant supporting actors, racial or ethnic group. 2, at least 30% of all actors in secondary or minor roles are from at least 2 underrepresented groups. 3, the main storylines, themes, or narratives of the film are centered on underrepresented groups.
All right, so the 2 big things I have. So this is for on-screen representation, okay? And this is also dealing with this term underrepresented groups. How is that defined in today's world?
The minority?
Minorities.
Because everybody's represented now, and they have been for 20 to 30 years. Everybody.
That.
In fact, probably the 60s is when they started being represented. So everybody's represented. So which group?
Oh, you got the Donald Trump hands up?
Which group?
Everybody's been represented. Everybody's here now.
Since the
60s. Everybody's saying the same thing.
Which group is considered unrepresented in Hollywood today? Okay.
I mean,
because they're all represented. So how is this defined? That is the big
when
question.
Joe whips out the Donald Trump hands.
Look, how are we defining this? How should we define this? Okay.
You know,
are we talking black, gay? Is it them too?
Yes. No.
Are women
Latin
considered
Americans,
unrepresented?
Asian Americans, women? Yes, all of these.
All of the above, except the ones that look like us 3.
Yes.
Wait. Well, not Wyatt. He's
ambiguous.
I haven't seen a lot of movies about Spanish people recently.
Blue Beetle just came out.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it didn't do very well.
I didn't watch it, but yes, you're right. Okay, your people have been represented.
Well, I here's the thing. It's arbitrary.
Right.
It's arbitrary, and it is stuff like this is going to kill the award shows.
I think there's argument that they've already killed him, but this is definitely
no.
The dirt on top of
the
views,
views of each of the like the Oscars has gone down significantly, and it gets less and less every year.
Okay, let's go ahead to standard B. All right.
Revolves around creative leadership, and project behind each film can also be achieved in 3 ways. At least 2 of the following leadership positions and department heads, casting directors, cinematography, blah, 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 from underrepresented groups. So what this is saying,
at least 30% of the film's crew from represented groups.
Yes.
30%.
So what this is saying,
this is egregious.
This is, so if you pair this standard B with standard A, they're saying that the entire creation of the movie on screen, we're talking about all characters, all narratives have to be about or involving underrepresented groups. And everybody behind the scenes has to all be about underrepresented groups. So we are no longer making movies because people want to watch movies. This is about this is politics now.
Yeah. I got
100%.
a legitimate question about, so who's defining these underrepresented groups? And if that's the case, if we just have to have a lot of diversity, if that's what they're saying,
Yeah,
then
basically, but they're making it down to a math equation,
okay,
30%. You
so
know what I'm saying?
like someone like Jordan Peele, I love his movies. I'm not dissing on his movies, but like he has come out and said the movies he tells, not as a racist thing, not as anything. He just primarily always puts a lot of black actors in his films. So
Well,
if
yeah,
he's
he
got a
he wants
crew,
to see movies made by black people starring black people, and there's nothing
Nothing
so
wrong
wrong
his
with
with
movies
that.
are not
That's a good
exclusive,
goal,
or his movies
but
are exclusive.
what his movies are. They're not
They're not
exclusive,
diverse.
but they're it could be argued if it was reversed, it would be racist.
well,
Definitely.
no, yeah, um, but his movies will qualify for all of this.
100%.
Even though it's technically just the same as a white director who casts white people.
But if you were to say, I want to make white movies, then you're racist,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The other way it's racist. Now, I want to bring up two
It
things
seems
in
like.
this. At least 30%. This is egregious because this is you guys know the difference between like these terms like equality and equity, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Equality is good. Equality basically means there's no barriers to people who are
Yeah, for
qualified
anybody. Yeah.
for anybody.
As long as you're
Equity,
qualified, you get in there.
yes. Equity is the initiative to make sure that certain people of certain demographics or certain identities
Mm-hmm.
are elevated to positions. So this, when you say at least 30% of the film crew's underrepresented groups, that's fine if that's the case. If it just happens because they're qualified, they are not saying they have to be qualified.
Yeah.
They are
No,
saying
all of this
they
is
have to
equity.
have this. It's all equity, and equity is racist,
Mm-hmm.
100%. Now, the other
It's
thing
racist, it's sexist, and it's homophobic.
it's definitely, you want to know the number one people group that are affected by these equity initiatives? Asians.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Asians are the biggest ones affected by this. Now, the other issue I had is this idea of defining who all needs to be represented. I'm sorry, casting directors, whatever. They are men, women, black, white, it doesn't matter. Cinematographers, no offense, to get the best cinematographer out there, most likely is going to be a white guy. It's just a fact right now because the top cinematographers. Composers, if you want the best composer, it's going to be a white guy. It's going to be Hans Zimmer, you know?
Yeah. If you
want the best costume
What
designer,
you're
that's going to
not-
be a woman.
So
you know?
just for clarity's sake, he's not saying that the best composer or cinematographer has to be white because they are
I'm saying
inherently the best.
it is
He's
a
saying
fact.
right now the best cinematographers and composers in the business are white men.
But check this out. Hairstylist, probably a woman, right?
Probably.
Makeup
Well,
artist,
I don't
probably
know.
a woman.
I don't know. There's lots of men in hairstylists and makeup.
Look, the biggest thing here is to basically say, if I want to qualify for best picture, I don't get a chance to pursue the best of what I think.
Yeah, I can't
have to pursue demographics.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the biggest problem.
Here's my crew. They're the best crew around, and these are all the people I'm hiring. Here's everybody in the film crew, and then the Oscars looks at it and they're like, "Well, you didn't meet our equity requirements, so you're not gonna win Best Picture."
Imagine if I couldn't pursue Greg Fraser to film my film because he's a white guy.
Yeah, and then
that would be nuts.
If that's the case, all of these are going to be. These rules are going to be implemented in all of the things. It's like, oh, you want to win best, music, best sound, best, international picture, whatever. They're all going to be implemented. So
it's so wrong that it's not based on people's ability and qualifications. It's based on ticking a box.
So this one is Standard C centers on industry access and opportunities and can be achieved via, number one, the film's distribution or financing company has paid apprenticeships or internships that include underrepresented groups, or the film's production, distribution, and or financing company offers training and work opportunities for below-the-line skill development to people from underrepresented groups. Here's the thing about this point. It is not bad. This is not a bad initiative.
Directors can't choose this though.
Off. Hold on.
I saw Joe. Joe was working up to something. Yeah, this is all good stuff. Providing internships and apprenticeships to anybody is, that's all great stuff, and there's nothing wrong with it.
There is stuff wrong with it, because that means
I'm almost done. I'm almost done. The issue is when you make it a rule of requirement that this is part of what allows a movie to get made is, do you provide internships? Do you provide apprenticeships for underrepresented groups? If not, sorry, you don't win best film if you don't provide these things.
Two biggest issues
as a barrier of entry,
Yes, two biggest issues I have with this. Number one is the creatives that want to win Best Picture, the director, the producers, cannot control this.
Mm-mm.
This is a part of the industry. This is a part of Universal, Warner Brothers, Disney. Do they have this?
Yeah.
Do they have this?
Imagine being a producer.
I can't control if they do or not.
Imagine being a producer and going around to like the studio, just making sure. Do we have enough? Are we including everybody with the apprenticeships, the internships?
There's too many white people in this internship. Is everybody? Are there black people supposed to be here?
So now you have to go through film and crew, you have to go through story, and you have to go through the bottom rungs of the ladder. You have to make sure
that you're working for a company that whoever you sold the story to has internships for underrepresented groups.
Now, here we go. Standard D says centers on audience development and can be achieved if the studios and or film company has multiple in-house senior executives from underrepresented groups, including individuals from underrepresented racial or ethnic, blah, 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 blah.
This is a typo.
I want to point out another thing you can't control. Are your executives and, marketing and publicity and distribution teams full of underrepresented groups? Also something a director can't control.
Cannot. No. The only thing you can control is I will not work with them. But then going back to the other point, if you want to work with more smaller indie companies, they don't have resources to provide these things for underrepresented groups.
Yeah.
So now you're saying I will not work with people. I will not work so that I can get Best Picture at the Oscars. I will not work with these certain companies because they do not provide that. Whether they're too big because they don't want to, or because they're too small, they don't have resources to do it.
I was actually expecting, it says centers on audience development. It's like, if your audience isn't at least
white viewing,
40% from underrepresented groups, it's like
they just liked my film.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. These are ridiculous. And
they're not just ridiculous. These are immoral. These are racist.
Yeah, you're right.
This is not just like an annoyance barrier for people at the Oscars. This is immoral because this is not helping the industry. This is not helping creative minds. This is not creating equality for all. So this is literally a racist.
This is in play now, right?
It is
for this year.
The first time these rules are implemented into who's going to win Best Picture is this next Oscar.
Because as long as 2 of these are fulfilled, you can win Best Picture.
Yes.
Who's winning Best Film?
Apparently, everybody's talking about, because of this, Oppenheimer doesn't qualify, so it's definitely not Oppenheimer.
I bet you $1 million Barbie qualifies for all of this.
Oh yeah,
I would be willing to say the same thing.
Barbie
probably definitely qualifies.
Probably Blue Beetle.
That's a really good point. This is another area for Hollywood to essentially tell everybody what is the best movie
Best
and
movie.
not actually it being a good movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, they fell into the rules, so they qualify. Now all these BS movies qualify. So
Yeah.
that's the pool you have to pick from to win Best Picture. You know what? Let this happen because the industry is so non-self-aware that the indie market's just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I mean, people like we mentioned this, I think last week or this week on the live or something, that Johnny Depp's literally going and working for indie French companies on
Yeah.
his movies because the American Hollywood doesn't want him. He's
Mhm.
still a huge movie star and people will watch him on screen. They're just digging themselves into a deep hole, and all that's going to be left at the bottom of that is Greta Gerwig and Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah. You know what I say to that? Let them eat cake.
I mean, honestly, they're gonna destroy themselves. I mean, yeah, they're gonna destroy themselves.
If you can't
They're
literally
already doing it.
if you are stiff arming movies like Oppenheimer to not
Yeah.
win Best Picture, like not giving them the chance to potentially win Best Picture.
No Oppenheimers.
Nice.
Stupid.
Look, I don't know what to make of it other than it's very incredibly disappointing and it just adds to the pile, a huge pile of problems.
Yeah.
But I do have something that's a little lighthearted, but did you guys want to have anything on your mind first? Do you have something? Wyatt keeps going like he's about to say something and he's not letting him say it.
I keep thinking I have something, then I don't have something.
All right. Well, this next bit's going to take a minute. So we should probably get on it. All right.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we are going to rank our generation's Dreamworks hits.
Okay.
Are we okay? Disney? Oh no, DreamWorks. You said Dream. I thought you said Pixar. I was gonna say
Yeah.
Disney Pixar or just Pixar, but
No,
DreamWorks.
DreamWorks.
Okay.
Okay, so I
I was
don't have
confused.
every DreamWorks movie. I stopped at Megamind because after Megamind was Kung Fu Panda 2, and then honestly, for me anyway, you guys tell me differently, I might have watched one here or there, but I just stopped paying attention because I lost interest, right?
What was the last?
Well, you
I think
became-
Megamind
we watched.
Became an adult, so
I became an adult, but we're all around the same age. So that's what I'm saying. Our generation,
yeah.
DreamWorks animation, we're gonna rank it.
Yeah, that's
What-
cool.
Wyatt, we watched
got
a
21
DreamWorks movie
titles
not
here.
too long ago. What was it? Do you remember? I remember me and you said sitting down and watching a DreamWorks movie. What did we watch recently?
I mean, probably on this list. Look at the list. What did you watch?
Kung Fu Panda? We watched Kung Fu Panda not too
Yeah,
long
that was in
ago.
Virginia Beach, though. I swear it was here.
So
know.
I say
I
we
don't know.
start ranking these, all right?
Okay.
So 21 titles I have here.
yeah.
It's a long list.
I guess we'll start with
Did we
ants
start-
and go from there.
No,
no, I was gonna
okay,
say, let's
no,
start with
look,
Over
let's
the
start
Hedge.
let's start with what we didn't really enjoy.
Ants was the
that's-
first one.
That's going to be down at the bottom. Ants was the first one, yes. But
I
I would say
enjoy
we should
Ants.
start
but
more with what we don't enjoy.
I enjoyed Ants, but it
well-
wasn't the best one they've done. It was just
No,
kind of a meh
I don't think
movie.
we should just pick out all the ones we don't enjoy and then work up. No, we should
No, we're gonna
start
go in the
with
list. Yes,
let's
we're
start
gonna go
with
in the
list order. It's more fun if we're just
Okay, just go down the list.
yeah, let's just go down the list.
All right, Ants. Did we ultimately enjoy Ants? Do you
It's
I
think?
enjoyed
C-tier
it, but it was
It's
yes,
D,
right in the
actually,
middle.
it's kind of D tiered for me.
D tier.
Sylvester
it's
Stallone was
okay.
in that movie.
He was.
So,
Sylvester was in that movie. Who
Yeah, I'm
else
cool with
was in that
D.
Woody
movie?
Allen as well.
We got to
Yeah.
kind of go through these pretty fast.
I mean, not terribly fast. Prince of Egypt.
S tier for me, dog.
I think we
No.
all
Every
agree.
time I
S tier.
watch it, I
No.
look at here.
A
Here's the
tier.
thing.
Let's do A tier.
Look at the other movies on the list.
Mhm.
If Prince of Egypt is not S tier, what is?
I don't know.
What is?
There's some personal favorites in
There's
here.
some personal good ones here.
If we look at
A tier. I'm good with up there. Just
Look, this is what I
A-tier.
say. This is what I say.
A
Let's
tier.
put it in the middle. Let's put it in the middle.
okay,
Let's see where we hit, and then we'll come back.
And then we'll come
This
back
is gonna
to
be
it.
a
rank
long
that one,
segment. This
okay?
is gonna be a
El
long
Dorado.
segment.
El Dorado, I love.
Eh,
I love it. I like
think
El Dorado.
it's a B
I think
tier.
it's
El Dorado's
definitely
A tier.
upper B tier.
A B
B
tier.
tier.
B
Upper
tier.
B tier, yeah.
I'm in between A and B. I'll pop it in B,
And
but
B,
dang
it can
I
move.
love
It can
it.
always move up. I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think I'm gonna say Chicken Run's probably a solid A tier for me. It's just a
No, Chicken Run's
No,
a C tier.
Chicken Run was down there. It's a remake
What?
of The Great
It's
Escape.
the Great Escape with chickens and claymation.
It's a very
No,
clever concept, but
It's a
not.
clever
It's
concept, but it's just a
wonderful.
remake. I mean,
It's
it's
not
literally
okay.
nothing unique.
It's definitely not C tier. It's
I
got to
think
be.
it is.
It's B tier.
No, it's C tier. I would say C tier. I'm with you
No.
on that. I'd
That's
rather watch
wrong.
Ants than Chicken Run.
I
would rather
dropped my
watch
El Dorado
Chicken
from
Run.
A to B. You can
Chicken
drop
Run?
your Chicken Run
All
from
right.
B to C.
All right. I'll give that to you.
Okay.
S tier?
Shrek,
S
S
tier?
tier. S tier. 100% S tier.
I
Shrek
do
is
want to
S tier.
mention. I do want to say about Shrek something that kind of brings it down for me is 3D animation.
It's
Not
not there
great.
quite
Well,
there.
no. Killed the beautiful animations from El Dorado and Prince of Egypt and Sinbad.
Yes, I would agree.
Right.
Yeah, let's bump it down
Hold
one
on.
for that.
Is the 3D
on.
animations for El Dorado, for Prince of Egypt, and
It
for
was way
Sinbad?
better. They're way
The 3D
better.
animations were beautiful along with the 2D animations, and then Shrek comes out and just goes, everything's 3D.
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm gonna break your argument apart here because I have the list of what order these came out in. So first off, Ants was first
Yes.
3D animation.
Ants first, yeah.
Then we hit Prince of Egypt and El Dorado.
Mhm.
Then we hit Chicken Run. Then Shrek, and then we went back to the 2D animation like Spirit and Sinbad. And then they abandoned it, okay?
Okay.
It was not completely abandoned with Shrek. It
No,
was
it wasn't
added to the list.
abandoned.
I think Shrek was the catalyst, though.
No, it wasn't because they did 2 solid 2D animation
That
movies
doesn't.
after
Yeah, but that
Shrek.
does. Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they didn't already see
and
the trends.
more claymation.
Here's-
They were doing 2D, 3D, and claymation.
But just because the movies came out,
Yeah,
at
but
a certain
nobody's
time,
doing 4D yet.
just because the movies came out at a certain time doesn't mean that they weren't working on those 2D animations before the success of Shrek. It just
Okay.
means that Shrek came out and then they got these other 2D movies out as well.
Look, I don't
Spirit.
think the
Where would
fact
you put
that
Spirit?
okay, I'm keeping Shrek on S tier unless we have
That's
hard.
Spirit's
yeah.
A tier. Spirit's A tier. Solid.
Yeah, it's pretty
I-
good. Incredible soundtrack.
I have to bump
Yeah.
it down to B. Hear me out.
Okay, we'll leave it at A tier then.
Actually, you know what?
The
Freaking
story.
no, El Dorado's not worse than Spirit.
Yeah, I
So
would
I'm
say
kind of
No.
agreeing.
the
I think
story
they're-
for Spirit is not that great. It's kind of very baseline. The soundtrack is what makes this movie. You have to
Eh.
agree.
I mean, the soundtrack for me is most rememberable.
The story
No,
in itself
the-
is not great.
Well, no, I disagree with that. It's
It's a fine story.
it's a good story. What's El Dorado? They go to El Dorado.
Now, hold
No,
on,
but
El Dorado.
it's
don't
equivalent to
you
El
start
Dorado.
dogging on El Dorado
No,
now.
and they go to El Dorado.
no, they find the road to El Dorado.
They
There's an
become
adventure
gods.
Yeah,
become
and
way
then,
better than a
and
horse
then they
just
leave.
fighting,
Yeah, cool, good
there.
story.
No, they don't leave.
I would say I think Spirit is definitely A tier. But we can move El Dorado up to A tier.
Here's the thing. I
No,
think
we're
El Dorado
leaving
and
it at B.
Spirit-
We're going with B.
Personally, I think El Dorado is a little better than Spirit, but if they need to be on the same
I would
the
agree.
same level, then that's fine.
Then I think they're probably both A tier then.
No.
Well, I was saying
No.
El Dorado should be A tier before, and you
What's-
said no.
what-
Put it on
No,
B.
we're not moving El
looking at
Dorado,
this-
and we're
I'm
not
looking
moving
at this
Spirit.
list. I'm looking at this list, and I'm not seeing too many other A tiers.
I see a couple.
There's a
couple. There's a couple here.
All right.
Sinbad. Freaking, I love Sinbad.
Sinbad's kind of C tier to me.
I'm
Oof.
agreeing with Wyatt. It's between C and B. It's between.
It's not a
C
bad
and B.
movie.
Sinbad.
But there's certain aspects of it where I just felt like pacing was weird, and the ending is kind of lackluster.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But the movie's good.
Right.
It's, it's pretty good, and it's got some cool
And
animations and stuff.
Doesn't it have Angelina Jolie?
Nope.
It doesn't apparently. I've learned. Okay. Shrek.
Who does play
Shrek
the
2
bad goddess?
Shrek 2 is A tier.
Michelle Pfeiffer. Shrek
Michelle
2 is
Pfeiffer.
actually my favorite of the Shrek movies.
I know, but
Yeah,
that's for you
I give
specifically.
Shrek S tier status because it's Shrek.
We can't put
To
all
be
the
honest,
Shreks
it's
in
A
just
tier.
S. I'm with
It's
I'm
A
with
tier.
you on.
Yeah, Shrek 2 is A tier. It's the
Okay.
best.
I'm
It's the
cool with
better
that.
of the movies, but it's not the trailblazer that the original was.
I'm cool
But
with
it's
putting.
also like that's your opinion. Like it's not actually truly better than the first.
Everybody loves like the second one.
I'm
almost
agreeing with this
almost
statement.
universally, everybody loves the second one more.
I'm agreeing with this statement, but you guys, especially Wyatt, holds Shrek as a group of movies. I'm saying like the first, second, third,
Mhm.
all of them in such high regards because I know we've had this argument before where Shrek is okay. It's not what Wyatt holds it to. And I would disagree.
You say Wyatt, you mean the world.
No, Wyatt.
Yes, the word,
Wyatt's
because
opinion is not the world.
you're isolating me, but really, I think
No,
you're
I
the
did
one.
a study.
You're
I
the
took
one
a
in
poll of
isolation.
the world. I took a poll.
You're the
of
one in
world,
isolation on this
and-
opinion that Shrek is.
Josh
meh.
was in isolation of most of his opinion.
You're trying to put me into
What's
a category.
better here?
I'm in the majority here. You're in the minority
What's better
of
here?
Shrek as being like some of the best movies ever.
How to Train Your Dragon or Shrek 2?
As a cultural phenomenon, Shrek is universally loved.
No.
Shrek is
no,
more.
yes, I agree with that statement. I said no. That's true, but I think you hold it in a little higher regard than the average Joe.
No, I don't think
Let's
so.
not bring me into this. Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's just I don't go and gush about, oh, this is the best movie ever. It's just I like Shrek 2. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it is. Let's do Shark Tale. Where does Shark Tale land?
C tier for me.
It's D tier for me.
It's D tier for me as well.
I don't enjoy watching Shark Tale that much.
It's
got
right
some
there with
funny
ants.
but
It's
yeah,
right there with ants.
It's with ants.
Yeah. Madagascar.
Madagascar, I think, is pretty solid C to B, upper C tier, above Chicken Run.
I think C tier. It's definitely not better than Sinbad in my opinion.
Yes, it is. Yes,
No.
it is.
Madagascar's not better than
Yes,
Sinbad.
it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
100% it's not.
Madagascar has much better pacing, jokes, cast.
No, jokes, yes. Jokes, yes. Madagascar was in my opinion, the story is lacking big time.
But the pacing
Sinbad is an
great.
actual story. Okay?
Sinbad is like, what's
Madagascar
happening here?
2 is better than Madagascar 1, in my opinion.
Well, no.
Yeah, they go to Africa.
Right, yeah,
it's
that's
better than
wrong.
Madagascar.
That's absolutely wrong.
No, I
That's
think you guys
way
are
wrong.
forgetting. I think you guys are
Madagascar is them going to Madagascar. You don't go to Madagascar and create a movie called Madagascar,
2
but
is
you
they
go
go
to
from
Africa.
Madagascar to Africa. Okay.
You can't have a movie called Madagascar and go to Africa.
Yeah, it's called Madagascar. The first
'Cause
one's
it's
better, and it's
Madagascar.
better than Sinbad and Chicken Run.
It's not better than Sinbad and Chicken Run.
It's
Joshua,
better
what do
than
you
Sinbad
think?
and Chicken Run.
I think it's probably on the same level. In my opinion,
it's
a
just
little worse.
it's on the same tier.
That's not how the tier lists work. It goes down the line. If it's at the end of the tier list, at the end of the C tier, it's closer to D tier.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
Yes, that's how the tiers
That's how
work.
tier lists work.
Well, then I want to swap.
It's not like just as good. You
Yeah,
know?
it's not like these are all equal. It's, Chicken Run is better than Sinbad. Sinbad's better than Madagascar.
Well, no, I'm playing it. They're all equal. So leave it where it's at.
Okay.
And then I would say Madagascar 2 is D tier.
Look, I agree with this. I think Sinbad is better than Madagascar, and it probably.
I
is
don't
the same
think
tier.
so.
Where are we putting Madagascar 2?
D tier.
You guys say
D
it's
tier.
bad.
D tier.
It's unremarkable.
It's not great.
D tier is all unremarkable.
Unremarkable. Did you guys like Ants more than Shark Tale? Let me
I
revisit
did.
that.
I think I
Well-
would rather watch Shark Tale actually than Ants.
Same.
Okay, we're
Granted,
switching
I haven't
things
watched
in.
Ants in a long time, and
I'm
so
done with doing these ranking things because you guys, you fools.
Well,
I'm
sometimes it's
using
just
the full
easily
word.
2-1.
Yeah,
sometimes
because you
it-
guys always agree on things.
That's not true. We agree. Definitely.
well, you
disagree
make
with this
stuff up,
Madagascar.
Josh. You make stuff up like you hold it. in
Your
such
face
high
is up.
regard.
Is being made up.
Like I don't
Look.
think Shrek's that great. Said nobody ever.
No. Also,
The entire
Wyatt and I
What's the
disagree
next
disagrees
one?
with
on
you.
I can't see what that
El
is. Is
Dorado
this
versus
Wallace
Spirit and
Gromit?
Sinbad versus Madagascar. Okay,
Is that Wallace and Gromit?
Yeah,
it is Wallace and Gromit.
So I've
I
never seen
missed
this.
movie.
I've never seen it.
it's good.
Where does it fall?
The were grommet, but it's
Okay, compared to Chicken Run, where's it fall?
It's look, I'm sorry,
E?
British people, but Wallace and Gromit's like E tier.
All right,
Sorry.
we're defaulting to you because
I'm sorry.
we haven't seen it. Over the Hedge. This one
dude.
grows in love more that I think about
The more I think of it, the more I see it over the years. It really so number one, it defined a lot of the cinematics for light diffusion through fur and
True.
particle diffusion, lots of 3D animation things. What an amazing cast for this movie.
I think
has
it also
Avril Lavigne.
defined an
Mm.
era for Bruce Willis without any hair.
Well, he had a lot of hair in this one because he's a raccoon.
RJ did.
And dude, Nick Nolte as the bear and Steve Carell as
Steve
Hammy.
Carell. Yeah.
Dude, what a cast. What a movie.
It probably
is
goes
A
up
tier.
here. I think B tier.
Yeah, I
You think
would
B?
agree. B tier. B
I think
Okay.
B tier. I still prefer El Dorado over the Hedge, but
Me
it's
too.
still a
Alright.
good movie, right?
Okay, yeah.
I think I'm. This is good. I think I'd consider Over the Hedge watching that before Sinbad, even though Sinbad
Mhm.
I have a soft place for in my
Yeah.
heart.
You have a soft spot in the top of your head for it.
Yes, I do.
Like a baby.
Flushed away.
Flushed Away, for me, is kind of a guilty pleasure. I
Guilty? Why
love-
is he guilty?
This
in
is
it?
I
the British.
love Flushed Away.
Okay.
Because the British humor in Flushed Away is top tier. It's amazing. What is this? It's Hugh Jackman and Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The jokes, a lot of them will go over your head, but I love it. I love this movie. It's visually
I
incredibly
say it's B
pleasing.
tier. I say
B?
it's B tier.
You like
I
it
wouldn't-
more than Chicken Run and
I
Madagascar?
like Flushed Away way more than Chicken Run. Of the like mocap,
Yeah, I
kinda,
would put it right where you're putting
I
it.
agree.
stop motion. It's yeah.
Now, for some reason, I don't really feel like I'd prefer Flushed Away over Sinbad.
I
But
see. I would agree. Sinbad is better than Flushed Away, but you guys had to put it in C tier.
well, I didn't
I'm sorry, guys. Sinbad's story.
listen.
Yeah,
Can
but
we
it's
revisit
Brad
Sinbad
Pitt
the
and
same way we're
Angelina
revisiting
Jolie.
Prince of Egypt?
Sinbad's
It's Brad
story and
Pitt
pacing.
Angelina Jolie.
All right.
It's
once
Michelle
we finish,
Pfeiffer.
just to let you know, I am going to lobby hard to revisit Sinbad.
Okay.
Because
This is
I don't
gonna
feel
be
like Sinbad.
We can
insane.
revisit.
Sinbad is
yeah.
becoming more and
I don't
more
want to
out of place
revisit.
to
We
me.
These are
ain't
tentative.
revisiting anything. What's
Um,
Shrek the Third?
No, we are
Well,
revisiting because Prince of Egypt is still
It's
better
not-
than all these movies.
Prince of Egypt is still in between A and S.
Yeah.
All right.
Shrek
revisiting
the
it.
Third. What do you? I don't have much of an opinion on Shrek the
Look,
Third.
I
No,
love
I
Shrek the Third. I think literally it just gets a little bit less fun the more movies.
I don't
but
think
it's still
it's
good.
better than Madagascar or Chicken Run, personally.
I think
but,
it is. I think
uh,
Shrek the Third is
I
way
think it
better.
is. I
I don't
think it
remember
is.
all
anything
three of
about
these
Shrek the
movies.
I
Third.
would put it on B
Where they
tier.
get
but
Justin Timberlake.
I've seen Shrek the Third twice and have never desired to watch it again.
They go
I
to
would
Worcestershire.
I would put it on B tier, but put it right before Over the Hedge.
Marlin with the dude. Marlin has a little. Remember a little
remember any
dress
of it.
that keeps flipping up and showing his butt.
Don't remember any of it.
Yeah, it's 'cause
I would
he's not
rather
seen it.
watch. I'd rather watch Flushed Away, Over the Hedge, Spirit, Chicken Run, Madagascar, Sinbad,
Well,
Shrek the Third.
Let's put it right in front of Over the Hedge.
No, leave it where it is. It's good.
You
there.
think it's better than Over the Hedge? Up
Yeah,
here?
I would put it
I
right
don't
there.
remember enough from the movie. I remember everything about Over the Hedge and Flushed Away.
I think it's just because you need to watch it again.
I
And
don't want to
remember how
watch
good
it again.
is.
I don't want like if I watch a movie and I don't want to watch it again, it's usually for a good reason.
Why?
if I watch,
I know why
I
Wyatt doesn't
watch
like
a
this
movie-
movie. It was because it was a bad night when we were watching it last.
Nope, that was Shrek the Fourth, which I love.
See, I think if you watch Shrek, that's Shrek Forever After, by the way.
Yeah,
but
Shrek Forever After. Yeah,
Can we
but
just
if
bring
you
that
watch
one
Shrek
next?
the Third again, if you watch Shrek the Third again, you find love in your heart for it.
I don't think so.
I think you will.
I don't.
This
think
is
so.
the
Just
true
pick.
parlay
I'm done.
from Shrek
It's
Too
2.
long.
talking about
Pacing's
Shrek.
long.
Anything with Shrek in it, I'm done with.
All right, look.
Said
gonna
nobody ever.
gonna do this.
nobody.
I'm gonna put
I'm
Shrek.
done with Shrek.
I'm putting Shrek at the top of the C tier. Shrek
Okay.
third.
That's ridiculous.
Shrek Forever After is solid B tier for me. Anywhere on that list, I'll watch it.
Mhm. I agree. I think it's actually in between Spirit and El Dorado for me.
It's a good one.
What do you say, Joshua?
That's fine. I'm done with Shrek.
No, don't just tap out. You
I'm not
freaking
tapping out
quitter.
with the next one. The B
Which
movie.
is better?
The B movie was D tier after Madagascar.
B movie is an F tier movie.
B
my man.
movie's F tier.
No, it
hard
was-
B movie
it
is
was D. It
of,
just
the
after
worst
Madagascar
of
too.
all of these DreamWorks movies, B tier is the lowest tier.
Yeah.
What?
We're not necessarily ranking these as like
the B movie is his lowest. Is what you're saying.
it's B tier. That's the level of humor in the B movie, making it F tier.
Yes. B movie sucks.
Okay, is it F?
I don't care that
though?
you
We
had
gotta
Jerry
give it
Seinfeld.
something. Give
It's
it at least
terrible.
E. Give it
You
at least
like
E.
jazz?
B movie is so freaking
See,
dumb.
you're giggling at the jokes. At
No,
least
I'm
make
giggling-
it E.
I'm not giggling at the jokes. I'm giggling at how terrible this movie is.
Let's
it's
just
so
make
dumb.
it E.
No,
E.
I can't.
Wallace
I'm
and Gromit
sorry.
is probably
I
better
can't.
than B
I
movie.
can't.
Look, we're putting something on
I'm
the
not
F,
even
and it's
playing
gonna
at
be the
this
B
point.
movie.
I don't get to choose. You guys are just putting them at the tier.
No,
that
it's
you guys
because
agree.
the two of us agree. If you two agree on something, I default to that.
And then I'm just saying bump it up one tier. I'm not saying put it at S tier. I'm just saying
Look,
bump
we
it up
already did
one
that.
tier.
Me and you bumped up Shrek the Third because Wyatt doesn't like it at all.
I didn't even say anything about Shrek the Third. I said I'm done with Shrek.
We can reevaluate at the end. We're just
Look,
throwing them in categories, except
Kung
for B
Fu
movie, which is
Panda.
F.
S
First
tier.
one.
S tier, A
Kung
tier,
Fu
S
Panda.
tier,
S tier. I would say
tier.
S tier.
I
It's
would
an
say
S tier
S tier.
movie.
S tier movie. Easy. Kung
Yeah.
Fu Panda.
Yeah, the first one, the fighting in it, like we watched Kung Fu Panda. Went through the Kung Fu Panda movies.
We didn't
kind
get
of
the second. We
recently.
didn't get to watch the second one.
But like the first one, the fighting style is so much better than after like once they get second and third.
The third
it just
one,
gets-
the
it
third
just
one
gets
starts
kinda
just
bad.
becoming a like kids movie.
Yeah, but the fighting and Tai Long's fight,
Mhm.
his escape from prison, is a fantastic scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. It really just music, composition, stunning cast, great visuals, awesome fighting.
And that does have Angelina Jolie in it.
And that does have Angelina Jolie.
It does. And she plays
Mhm.
a tiger. How
Mhm.
hot is that?
Yeah, Monsters versus Aliens. Can we? Yeah, Monsters versus Aliens. I
Monsters
like
versus
Monsters versus Aliens,
It's
but
okay.
it
I
was
don't think
unincredible for me.
Yeah.
I don't think it's up there with a lot of these other movies. It's fun. It's funny.
I'm putting it down on E tier.
Yeah.
No, put it before Shark Tale. I would say it's
Before
before
Shark
For
Tale?
Shark Tale. Oh, on
You think
D tier?
Monsters versus Aliens
I
is
I
better
think
than
it's
Shark
D
Tale?
tier. Yeah, I think it's D tier. I don't know if it's before Shark Tale. I like Monsters versus Aliens.
Look, I'll
but-
do this. I'll put it after
Okay.
Shark Tale.
Yeah.
How about that? Because
Yeah.
I honestly think this is an E tier movie.
Nah, it's D tier. It's fun. It's enjoyable. S
How
tier.
to Train Your Dragon.
S tier. First, yeah, the first one is S tier.
Okay,
I feel like that could be
Or
S
upper
tier.
A tier.
I'm doing
I think
upper
A
A tier.
Yeah,
I'm
I
doing
would say
upper
A
A
tier
tier.
because the story is good, the soundtrack is fantastic, but I think the
But
animation
compared to Kung
style
Fu Panda and
is
Shrek
not great.
and Prince of Egypt,
No,
probably.
the animation looks incredible in that movie.
When was the last time you
it's
watched
amazing.
How to Train Your Dragon? It wasn't great. It's not great.
No, it's incredible. It's still incredible.
Megamind.
I love Megamind.
I do too.
It's
Megamind is
funny.
like one of the
B
actual
tier?
funny B tier. I think so, but
I think-
I don't
B
think
tier?
it's better than El Dorado or Shrek.
You could put it. I mean, you could put it around Over the Hedge and Flushed Away. I
I'ma do
love
this.
Megamind.
I'ma
I think
do
that was
this.
the one we
Joshua, do
watched.
you agree
was
with this?
Megamind?
I
Josh?
move Over the Hedge a little before Megamind.
You mean after Megamind?
Yeah, like that.
Something like you agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What we need to revisit is I want to revisit Sinbad personally, and we also need to decide Prince of Egypt S tier.
It's S tier.
No,
Yes.
it's good.
How, Joshua?
How
It's
is it
good,
not?
but it's
Can you
not.
explain why?
Okay,
can't.
no,
It's S tier.
I'll give you Prince of Egypt over Shrek because I don't. Shrek is good, but it's not this massive thing that you put it in front of.
Cultural phenomenon.
Shrek cannot be the best.
It's
It
not.
is.
Prince of Egypt is the best, and then
Okay.
Shrek.
Let's
And then Kung
let's
Fu
go with
And
that.
Panda.
Kung Fu Panda.
Now, I'm okay with everything here except for Sinbad. Do we really think that Sinbad deserves to be next to Madagascar and Chicken
when was the
Run?
last time you watched it?
Maybe a year ago.
Okay, tell me the storyline.
The storyline is about a man who's obsessed with basically becoming the richest man and the most interesting.
No.
Finding the edge of the world. That's basically it.
But
And he
what
has
do
a
they?
map.
But what do they do in the movie?
Be more specific.
What's the
What do
book
they
called?
do in the movie?
What's the
book called? If you can give us the book,
They run
name, we'll
away
move it up.
from these spirit mermaids.
No, what
They're
is the
finding
book?
the edge of the world?
He doesn't
He's
know-
got he has a deal with
If
the
you
goddess.
give us the name of the book, literally
I can't
the
do that.
MacGuffin in the movie, then
The MacGuffin isn't the MacGuffin the map.
They are going to get the book to save his friend's life.
so the MacGuffin is
Yeah, who's in prison,
Because
and
of
the girl that he
something-
falls in love
because
with
of something
is
Sinbad
engaged
did.
to the thing.
And then
If you tell us-
what's the big climactic thing at the end?
He gives himself up. Like he lets his friend go free while he sacrifices himself.
Yeah, and they get the book. It's just it feels like it
good.
kind of falls
you
flat
still
at the
didn't
end
tell
of
us
the movie.
the name of the book.
I don't know the book, Joshua. Stop
Then you don't
harping
get
on
to
this
move it up.
non-talking point.
You don't get to move it up.
I honestly don't remember. What is it, like the Book of Corinth or something?
No, I think it's actually in the title.
I don't remember what the book's name is actually. Legend of
the Seven Seas? It's not it.
It's like is it not the Book of Corinth or Corinth or something? Josh
let me
Josh doesn't
see.
know either. He's looking it up on his phone. Yeah, if you want to move Sinbad up, I don't care that much. Yeah.
Look,
I
I'm
don't
not
care
going to
that
do
much.
something that the two of you just hardcore just don't.
I just
agree
don't
with.
think it. I don't think it warrants it because it's
Let's
aside
just
from like
leave it where it's at. I'm
animations and stuff,
frustrated,
it's
but
kinda-
let's just leave it where it.
I don't know. Why
lies.
do you get so frustrated with this stuff?
Because
Joshua's
this is life or
so
death.
frustrating.
I know why he gets frustrated because his take on movies, his takes on movies,
It's terrible.
No, it's you.
His takes
say
on
your
movies.
take is this ultimate thing,
No,
and
no, no.
you guys always
Your,
agree.
your take
and
on
so,
movies
no,
is always outside
No.
of like
No.
normal conventions and normal thinking.
Yes,
And you think it's normal thinking, but it's outside of it. It's like opinions that nobody has.
Right.
You just hold.
You're like,
your
you guys have
opinion at such high regard.
you guys have trash opinions. It's opinions that everybody always has.
right. It's
I'm
it's
done.
it's
I smell
it's
garlic
easy
bread.
opinions. You smell
It's
garlic
not. It's
bread.
Ethan's milk chicken is what you're
I know.
smelling.
I know.
Oh
that's what
my
it is,
gosh!
Yeah.
What? What?
Don't think
Milk
about
and
it.
cinnamon.
Don't think about the milk chicken. Don't think. Stop thinking about.
No, his
It's
logic
his milk-
was
his milk chicken marinade.
his logic
Ew.
was you soak fried chicken in buttermilk before you cook it, and it's good.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't have anything to marinate in, so I'm gonna marinate it in just normal milk and put some cinnamon in it. And he's like, oh, it's good with French toast, so why don't I do that with
Chicken?
Overnight.
Chicken and French toast are two different things.
It
This
smells
is
like
Ethan's
French
thinking.
toast. It
But
smells
it's
like
raw,
French toast.
salmonella having chicken.
Mm-hmm.
That's disgusting.
Yep.
It's gonna just
So
burn.
Someone go
It's
tell
probably
that
gonna
boy
burn.
to stop acting like a fool.
he's
think-
done it for years and years and years. He's like, I'm gonna put saffron in my coffee or paprika or
Sounds
chili
like Seth
powder.
with butter.
Oh, he's like, I like drinking my Kool-Aid with noodles in it. He's always done this
Ugh.
weird stuff.
That is disgusting.
Yeah.
Freaking,
I'm so
what is
mad.
wrong with him?
I'm so mad right now.
Why? It's just DreamWorks, bro.
I don't accept it.
It's just a prank, bro.
I quit this podcast. I quit the
You
podcast.
always quit. You always quit. When are you actually going to get some balls and actually quit?
I'm done.
Yeah, just do
Stop
it.
showing up for the
He
recording.
just stops. And then he's sitting in the living room listening to us laugh and laugh.
And he's
and
like,
you know,
laugh.
Someone
And
was
then he gets that
interrupting me during that
FOMO.
recording where they were trying to give their input about the DreamWorks stuff. I don't know who it was, if it was John, Mark, or Ethan, but they threw.
wait, someone just came to the door and wanted to give input in the middle of the podcast?
Somebody was at my door. I ignored them.
They
Freaking.
shoved a piece of cardboard with DreamWorks with a list of DreamWorks movies on it under my
Grab
door.
it. Grab
Yeah,
it.
I don't have it. I threw it back underneath the door.
Well, yell at him and tell him to slide it back. I want to read it before we're done with this movie.
See, my
Um,
thing is like,
or the-
if you want to, if
Yell
if
at him.
you want to be on the podcast, just say,
DreamWorks stuff back.
What if you want to be on the podcast? What?
if you want to be on the podcast, just knock and say, hey, I would like to add something.
They're
I'd
not.
like to.
Don't do an
They're
annoying
cooking chicken.
thing.
They're not paying attention. They're cooking
Dang it!
chicken.
Now I can't believe someone just slid a list of DreamWorks movies on a piece of cardboard under your door, and you're like, "Screw them!" and you slung it back. Why? You didn't think that would? Be
I
an
don't
interesting
like
take?
I don't like being distracted.
Yeah,
Because
it was
we could
kinda-
literally just sit here and just roast this stupid list that they gave you. that
well,
would be so much
mean,
fun.
I think we should end it, and then we can roast it later.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.